You're listening to The Main Loop, a bi-monthly podcast all about what makes games interesting, engaging, and most importantly, fun to play. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of The Main Loop. Check my notes here. This will be a little different. Stu and I are in the same room for the first time since the show started.
It's really a milestone for us.
It is. We're taking it to the next level on this episode. We're meeting up IRL, so it's going to get weird.
Now that I've moved to Denver. From Denver.
From Denver. Yeah, my wife always thinks that you live in not Denver, and then she remembers. Probably because we only communicate over Slack and Skype.
Yeah. Some of my friends who listened to the show were visiting. They were like, so where's your co-host live? And I was like, in Denver. And they're like, so why aren't you recording together? And I was like, that is a great question.
Yep.
And now we are.
Look
at that.
Suck it, out-of-towners. A little bit of follow-up from last week. Stu, you were going to write a thing up for all of us about Hearthstone and Magic.
Oh, I see here it says Sean shames Stu.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. The Stu shame.
It's actually the title of this segment.
Yes.
I have not yet.
Okay.
I've done other things like play Zelda.
Yeah. You did, though. You gave me some good insight on I want to get back into Magic the Gathering, I think. And you gave me some good tips on maybe doing that, so I appreciate that.
I think it's a pretty fun time to get back into Magic. They just created a new group called Play Design, which is the entire goal is to basically be an interior group of competitive playtesters, so that the cards they release aren't just being sort of broadly balance tested, but sort of very specifically tested for competitive play environments. And I think that's going to result in better sets with a lot less bannings, which Magic has kind of been dealing with for the last few months of this year.
Yeah, a lot of banning.
Yeah, they've banned 3 or 4 cards in Standard, which is super rare.
Huh. That's crazy. I wish that would happen to Hearthstone more, actually. Don't nerf them. Maybe just take them out of, competitive or whatever. But I quit Hearthstone, so I'm going to stick to that. Well, that's it for follow-up. We have plenty to dive into on this week's Switchcast, so let's
Did something big happen last week? I hadn't heard.
Yeah, so this is the Switch 3 cast apocalypse, because E3 happened in between the last episode and this episode, and it was full-on Motherload jackpot time from the makers of Noob Shoes.
Noob Shoes. The Motherload jackpot.
The Motherload jackpot time for Nintendo Switch owners. So, I don't even know where to start. I actually thought it would be easier to start with what's not coming in 2017.
I think that's a good idea.
So, not coming in 2017 is Yoshi. A totally new Yoshi game. I'm really excited.
I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. You played the Yoshi's Woolly Mammoth.
Yeah,
game.
Yoshi's woolly yarn, yarny wool.
Yoshi's Big Yarn.
Yoli Warn.
There it was.
Yeah, nailed it. Nailed the landing.
Come on down to Yoshi's Yarn Barn.
That doesn't sound sketch at all.
Nope.
Yoshi as played by...
Yeah. So, I was actually asking if that last game was any good and if we should be hopeful for the sequel.
Yeah, I have super mixed feelings. I'm not sure if I had the right attitude towards it. I know Yoshi is targeted at much younger audiences in general, but I still felt like the game was just... It existed for me in that weird space that mobile games struggle with, where beating them is really easy, and then skill capping them is really hard.
Oh, okay.
Just brutally hard.
Yeah.
On mobile where it's getting 1 star is you can just do it and it's boring.
Right.
And then getting 3 stars is just interminably hard, and you're why am I doing this with my life? That's kind of how I felt about Yoshi's game.
Okay.
The woolly yarn, yarny wool.
Yeah, Yarn Barn.
Yarn Barn. But that being said, there were a lot of really cool things going on. So, I think I'm pretty pumped for any Yoshi in general.
Yeah. I'm excited because it had enough in there that... Excuse me. Ooh, we'll edit that one out. It had enough in there that reminded me of Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, which is in my top 3 Super Nintendo games, which means it's pretty high, near the top of my favorite games of all time. because I loved the platforming, I loved the puzzles, I loved the egg mechanic, and so yeah, I don't know. I liked the way it looked. I think the like isometric sections that they showed in the trailer look awesome, and the going in and out of the paper backgrounds looked really great. It reminded me of it was a big deal. It came out for the Apple TV, the new Apple TV, and an iPhone game, and it's all these like paper cutouts. Like the game itself is like all actual recorded like real paper cutouts.
Oh, it's the point and click adventure.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it though, but it reminded me of that. Like it looks really cool. So
Lumino City.
Thank you. Yes. Nailed it. And
There's a
we're
ball
done.
I
See you
can
guys
spike.
next
Yeah,
next
I'm out.
week.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it reminds me of that. So I don't know, I'm excited. You're swallowing guys, you're pooping out eggs, you're throwing eggs and stuff. So it's Yoshi. That's coming 2018. Also coming in 2018, which I was very excited about. Like I already said I was excited about this. I'm excited about everything. But is a new Kirby game, yet to be titled. But it looked like a return to Kirby form. Like
There wasn't a Kirby game for the Wii U either, right?
I don't think so. I may be totally out of it, but I feel like the last decade of Kirby games have all been Kirby's Air Ride, Kirby's Drawing Challenge, Kirby's Lee Marvin's Golf. Like it's all been like weird.
Kirby teaches math.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it's all
that's
been
nice.
these weird games that aren't side-scrolling games where you eat enemies and steal their powers. And then this trailer was definitely side-scrolling, eating enemies, taking their powers, recruiting enemies to fight with you, / co-op. It looked great.
Co-op, yeah. I'm excited by the level of co-op in Nintendo now.
Yeah. It looked like this Kirby game still had the combo power-up systems from Kirby 64 where like you eat an electric guy and then you eat a sword guy and now you have electric sword. Yeah, it looks cool, but that's also not coming until 2018. So
Which I think, speaks to Nintendo's larger strategy of release a game every 2 months instead of like release 3 games at launch and then apparently never again with the Wii U.
yeah,
Just like,
no more games. No more games.
we're good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So they also had a little sneak trailer. It was literally a logo for Metroid Prime 4, which is also really cool. Metroid Prime, of course, one of the most beloved first-person shooter adventure game franchises. 2 of the best GameCube games. There was one on the Wii, which I didn't play because I didn't want to pretend to be using all the ship controls. I just wanted to play a game. But yeah, that's in development is all they said. We don't know when. Metroid Prime 4. It's exciting. Excited?
I'm pumped.
Cool. I can't read you right now.
I didn't actually look at many of the previews for Yoshi or Kirby. I was just like, ooh, Yoshi. Look at some pictures, move on.
Yeah.
Ooh, Kirby. This looks awesome.
This was exciting, though, as opposed to all the other things that I've said are exciting. They had somebody on from Game Freak to let us know that a, quote, core RPG Pokemon game is currently in development for the Nintendo Switch. It may be at least a year off, but a full-on Pokemon game coming to a console. The thing we have wanted since the Nintendo 64 is happening.
So, I gotta be honest. This is completely off tangent, but we're gonna go for it. I've caught 6 horses in Zelda now. And at horse number 5, I was just thinking, what if I could catch Pokemon
but what
as
if these
Zelda?
were
Because that would be amazing.
the Legend of Zelda Link's Pokemons?
Like if Link had Pikachu. I don't know. But anyway, I'm pretty excited. It'll be interesting to see. I think the expectations are going to be different. I think Zelda Breath of the Wild reset Nintendo on RPGs on console moving forward, and I would expect the Pokemon games for Switch to differ pretty heavily actually from 3DS games, and that I'm guessing 3DS games are going to be pretty linear. They're going to be like the hero's journey. And I wonder if the console game is going to be much more open world like we saw with Zelda.
That could be pretty fun, actually.
That would be my guess, because from what I saw at the E3, it doesn't look like the 3DS is going anywhere anytime soon, and they probably don't want to cannibalize that market.
Yeah, yet.
Yet, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I couldn't help but wonder when they announced this Pokemon game if that was at least a subtle signal that, hey, like the main reason people keep buying the 3DS is going to go away eventually, and so maybe by 2018 don't hold your breath for like a lot of 3DS news at E3 or hardware refreshes. Like, will the Switch, especially if, and again, this is purely my own conspiracy theory, but if they release like a Nintendo Switch Mini or a Nintendo Switch XL, which I think they could totally do, either one of those things, have a Switch Mini with non-detachable Joy-Cons and a Switch XL with a nice, like a 10-inch screen instead of a 7-inch. If that were to happen, if they diversified that hardware line, then I don't see the 3DS other than, I don't know. On the other hand, the games are still simpler, so for a younger audience, like,
yeah, I think the DS and the 2DS, 3DS, I don't know what you call it at this point, but especially since they're releasing the 2DS XL in July, which I'm excited about, but also like,
I mean, I want one, but yes.
Give us a number. Just give me something to talk about. It seems like they're targeting kids, and that the Pokemon Stars release is probably going to be a little bit older. It's going to be like, you grew up playing Pokemon, now play it on a console. That would be what my guess is. But it's pretty telling that A, they didn't have much detail, and B, I don't think they felt the need to have much detail. They're kind of like, people are going to get hyped by this, so that's all we need.
Totally. And especially they have now proven with the Switch being this unknown quantity to now people are just like, it's phenomenal. You've got to get one. Same with Zelda. Like, they've kind of proven that that the Nintendo formula can pay off, which is we're going to do our own thing. It's still like we're going to do something established, but we're really going to put our spin on it. It feels like it has finally really paid off with what they're doing with the Switch. Zelda's a great example of that. So, well, let's talk about what's coming this year for Switch owners, because there's a lot.
So good.
Yeah,
so good, Sean.
Let's get the most boring thing out of the way, which is the Zelda DLC. So, and if that's the most boring, then we've got some excitement.
And the best part of the Zelda DLC is hard mode won't overwrite your existing save.
That is actually really great.
It's incredible. It's so un-Nintendo, and it's great.
Yeah, that is actually pretty nice that you can pick up where you left off. Or start a totally new hard mode campaign, I guess, if you want. But we get the first pack June 30th, which has hard mode. It has the Trial of the Sword. I think that's what it's called. Which I'm actually really excited. It looks a lot more, what they showed at E3 looked a lot more engaging. This is the, start out naked with no weapons and make it through all the rooms, and you get Master Sword is OP for the rest of the game forever. It looks a lot actually more engaging and interesting than I thought it would be. Because several of the previous Zelda games have had something like this, where you go down to the pit, and if you get all the way through, you get a big treasure. This actually looks like something that would be fun to play and actually try out. I felt like in Breath of the Wild, there were so many times where it's like, well, obviously I could wait until dark and approach this enemy camp and do all this like stuff, or I could just run in and kill everybody right now, which is what I did. So it'd be nice to actually like get the chance to kind of try out the different combat mechanics and things like that. So that's coming June 30th, and then the second,
especially since combat in Breath of the Wild is like really fun.
Sometimes I want to throw my Switch against the wall and light it on fire because of Zelda's combat. I'm not going to lie to you.
In Breath of the Wild?
In Breath of the Wild.
I love it.
Because the camera gets weird. I can't see anything.
That is fair.
Like, Link gets knocked down, and it takes him 8 years to get back up. And I'm like, I'm mashing buttons. I don't know if it's helping him stand up sooner, but I don't know. Sometimes I get so salted.
Camera control in combat is a pain.
It's especially during bosses that fly above you, and you're just like, well, he's killing me, and there's no way. Like, by the time I can whip this camera around to see him, he'll just be teleported out again. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, all that aside, I really do like the simplicity of the mechanics. I feel like it executed them better for someone who isn't quite as engaged in like fighting style combat games. Like I haven't played a bunch of Assassin's Creed, so it's not like I have as much experience there. I really like that. The camera controls are just totally awful. Just the worst. I'm
glad I'm not the only one, because I'm like, I get this is like one of the best video games ever, but also sometimes I want to light it on fire.
There was this one time where I was like trying to climb up. There's like the tower that you're like climbing up the rock, or the like that path, and there's like the floating guardians like patrolling it, and I'm like looking up trying to stasis this guardian while I run past. And next thing I know, I'm just like, I'm pointed up, and next thing I know, I just see the Guardian like getting smaller and smaller, and I tilt down and I'm like, oh, I'm off the cliff right now. This is great.
This is fine. This is fine. Well, Breath of the Wild DLC. Let's get right to it. Rocket League is coming to Nintendo Switch.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
And this is so great. This is so great.
I think this is the game that's hopefully going to encourage other bigger indie developers to really invest in the Switch as a platform.
Yep. I mean, the thought of really portable Rocket League without buying like an NVIDIA Shield or whatever is just really exciting. They've confirmed it's going to run at 720p at 60 frames per second in both TV mode and handheld mode, which I think is great. Like making sure it's going to be at a nice smooth FPS all the time is going to be awesome. And it's going to have crossplay between Switch, Xbox, and PC.
And not PlayStation. Because they're concerned about internet safety.
Right. They're concerned about continuing to sell bajillions of PlayStations all the time. So that's lame, but it's Rocket League on the freaking Switch.
Yeah,
it's not dumb awesome version. It's the full thing. All the modes, all the everything. And this announced that there's going to be, of course, some exclusive like hats and things for your car, like Mario hat on your car, of course. Why would I use anything else?
Yeah.
So that's, I can't wait. I love Rocket League, but I have it on PC. I don't like getting out my Xbox controller just for that game. I don't like it on keyboard and mouse.
So I will say the only downside here is that I'm probably going to play Mario Kart 8 and then immediately after play Rocket League.
Right.
And be mid-game and try to hit a red shell. And be wondering what the hell is going on.
Where's my power-ups or why are my power slides working? Yes.
But other than that, it's really a win-win.
Yeah, I can't wait. So the weird Mario Rabbids thing is real. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Hey, are we just like in the like peak asynchronous turn-based strategy game right now? Because I feel like there's just a million of them coming out. And B, this is amazing.
Yes. So this is basically like XCOM style turn-based role-playing game with Mario and all these rabbit things, which I don't even understand really. I still don't understand what a rabbit is.
They get connected because of a time-traveling washing machine.
Well, duh.
Because what else? Obviously.
I mean, I'm excited about anything that's RPG with Mario because so many fond memories of Super Mario RPG and the Paper Mario series.
It's the first time Mario's gonna shoot a gun.
He's gonna shoot a gun. I hope he just like headshots people. Like I hope it just goes a really dark place. Kind of finish off the gritty reboot thing. Mario's just capping people. Yeah, it looks weird as hell. There's a little cursor guy that you control and you move people around and...
Yeah, XCOM mechanics in a more like family-friendly format is awesome. I think XCOM's a great game. I'm really excited about that. B, it looks like they took some effort and were just like, hey, let's just put XCOM and Mario. Like, they actually did some innovations that are kind of cool. Yeah. Most notably, the jump feature. So if you position your guys around, so you'll control multiple characters, you can actually walk to a teammate and then use them to springboard to a different part of the map.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can use them to like jump over rivers and stuff that you couldn't get around normally. And so you can kind of use that, and that's like not a typical XCOM mechanic. And I think that's really nice to see that they were like, let's actually innovate on this a little bit.
Right.
Instead of just being...
We're not just dropping
XCOM.
we're not just dropping our IP into like a default framework. Like, let's actually...
Which probably would have worked too, but this is going to be
I just want to play it because it looks weird. And Rabid...
I don't
Princess
get Rabbids.
Peach has her own Instagram account now.
Of course she does.
I mean, it's great. So I don't get rabbits. I think they started in the Rayman games.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then, but I don't know. I'm so ready. I'm ready, and that will hold us over until Super Mario Odyssey comes out in October.
which admittedly I have somewhat mixed feelings about, but I'm still overall excited.
Yeah. I think it just looks so much better than we could have hoped or dreamed. Now that we actually saw the trailer, if you haven't watched the trailer yet, it's the most watched trailer of E3. It finally beat Battlefront 2. It took a while, but it beat Battlefront 2, top trailer of E3. So this magic hat that we saw in that Switch launch trailer where Mario could jump on it, turns out you can do a lot more.
All of the things,
yes,
apparently.
You throw it at stuff, and then you just turn into the thing that you threw it at.
Not just turn into, you actually take them over.
Right, you possess them. There
was darker.
There was a game, a PC game I remember in like the mid-2000s, early 2000s, where you were a little ghost guy, and you had to run around possessing soldiers and things like that. It was also pretty dark. And that's basically what they're doing now. So, moving on. So you got Mario taking over a Bullet Bill, becoming a little flagpole that you can spring back and like launch yourself.
Also
forward.
a T-Rex.
You can become a T-Rex. You can become electricity and shoot through power lines. I want to know if you can just become Bowser and just kill yourself, and if that's like the OP strat.
Stop pushing yourself.
That's the OP strat to beat him really quickly.
I think Glixel actually put together a screenshot list of all of the things Mario became in the preview. So it's quite large.
Yes, if you want to be Walrus Mario, the dream is happening. It's finally happening. Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I love 3D platformers. I loved all the games that preceded this. The hat thing just looks like it's going to be insanely fun. I like games where you're just running around throwing something, just trying to figure out what you can even do. Again, a callback to Kirby 64. Like half the fun of that game was just figuring out what powers you could combine and what it would look like. Like if you got the thing is, if you got electricity and sword in that game, then you got like a Darth Maul style double lightsaber that Kirby would flip around with.
Like you do.
Yeah, totally. So I'm excited to throw the hat at stuff and see what all you can turn into. I watched they did like a full demo at the Nintendo Treehouse thing at E3, and it just looks like the game's gonna be so freaking fun. There's a segment where there's like what looks like just a mural painted on the wall that's like old school Mario stuff. And then you go in a pipe and you just become 8-bit Mario and you run along the wall and then you pop out at the other side. I mean, it just looked, I don't know. What was that Zelda game where you did that, where you went along the wall?
Oh,
Link Between Worlds.
Between Worlds?
Yeah.
I think what's most exciting to me is that Nintendo has really new, fresh approaches to open world games. Because to be honest, it feels like all of the big companies are just doing big open world games,
right.
And Odyssey is definitely moving more in that direction.
Sure.
Like it's even bigger. It feels bigger than even Super Mario 3D Land, which was like I think their last one for Wii U, which was a great game.
Yeah.
Bar none. It seems like they have a very specific take on it, and that they're doing things that are still interesting instead of just being like it's Mario of the Wild. It's like, well, that which would be really boring in my opinion. It's like that's great, but
Breath of the Plumber.
So many places we can go with that, but we're not.
We're gonna stop. We're gonna hold off.
I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be great.
Yep. Well, I don't know. As far as Switch stuff at E3, that was the big ones. ARMS is out. While we're talking about the Nintendo Switch, I did not buy it.
I haven't yet either. I probably will at some point, but I'm not in a huge rush.
I'm kind of waiting for a price drop on that one. It looks super fun. I've been watching people stream it. I just don't... Any fighting game is just it's fun briefly for me, but it doesn't stay fun as long as I'd like it to. So, but it's... I don't know. It's ARMS.
I mean, I think the big difference, Polygon kind of wrote an article about this recently, is Nintendo's targeting a bit of a different competitive model than esports.
Right.
I find it difficult to believe that ARMS or Splatoon 2 will really get big on the esports scene. I think Splatoon 2 could.
Yeah.
But they're definitely going more for the casual co-op competitive type stuff.
Right.
And I think that's really great. I think that's an underserved area of the market where even things like Heroes, which are more casual, are still pretty intense, and it's nice to just be casually competitive.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the style of game that I'm gonna purchase, but I'm glad it exists.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for Splatoon.
Oh, I am too.
Because I've because of that very thing that you said. Because like I was watching some guys play Overwatch today, and it's like it made me really want to play Overwatch again. Overwatch is a phenomenal game. It's super fun, but there's definitely this just like cliff of, okay, I'm pretty good in quick play. I'd like to do some actual like more competitive stuff, but there's just this like huge ramp of, okay, well, if you want to play competitive, then it's time to get serious and like devote hours and get ready to get yelled at, and like I'd like a little bit more middle ground, and I feel like Splatoon is going to offer me that of, yeah, you can get good at this game, but it's not like, oh, I got to spend hours a day in competitive mode.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm excited for Splatoon 2. I think that
they even have a single player mode now, which is pretty nice.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun for me. That'll be a good lunch break thing. It makes me hope that at BlizzCon this year, they'll just announce Overwatch for the Nintendo Switch, because
that would be so great.
Even though it's garbage on consoles, just because competitive shooters are just garbage on consoles, but I'd still buy it and play it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two things for us whenever we talk about like Nintendo or Blizzard, especially with like Heroes or Overwatch or Splatoon, is like they're competitive games that bring joy. Like I feel joy playing them. Whereas like other competitive games will like scratch that itch of like, I just want to destroy somebody right now.
Yeah.
But like they actually bring joy. Like I played Splatoon on the Wii U and it was awful. I was using that big bulky plastic iPad. It's just like you're trying to target and you're just like, what am I doing with my life right now?
Yeah.
What led me to this point? But you're still having so much fun and it feels good. You don't feel terrible for the most part.
Right.
It's not just like, oh, this is awful. And I think Blizzard and Nintendo have really hit on kind of formulas that do that.
Right.
And I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. No, I was just playing Heroes the other night, and I was getting a little bit frustrated. My teammates were a little ADD. Like, we would get mostly through a good fight, and then they would just break off and go do something else. And I'm like, but they're all still, we could just kill them and then go do stuff.
Yeah.
And I was getting a little salty. Not bad. Not like 2 a.m. salty.
Yeah.
But my wife was just like, why do you play that game if you don't like it? And I was like, I love this game.
Yeah.
This is maybe my favorite game. And she was having a hard time understanding. And I was like, I get frustrated, but it's because I love this game. Like, I want to win. I want to do well. I want to be good at it. But I really, really love this game. And that's why I actually like get a little salty, because I don't know. I want to have a good experience doing it. And other games, like I've tried PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It's a great game, but man, it just brings out a dark side of me. And like,
well, for
it's
some
kind
reason.
of what it's decided. I like games like that, like CS:GO or H1Z1. There's just something about the community and the atmosphere and like the style of the game that just it doesn't have that element of joy, of fun. It's definitely got the competition down, but not the I'm really enjoying myself right now. It's the I have to freaking win to kill all these idiots.
Gonna destroy all of them.
Yeah. Not that isn't fun sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for it. It's nice to see. So one of the things I was chatting with a friend about, and another article on the list of things I'll never write about, is like how competitive games and regular games follow different design patterns. And like often you'll see game reviewers reviewing like uber competitive games and being like, this is a faulty game for X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, actually, competitive games get to play by different rules because all of those really annoying mechanics, which are really not usable, are actually kind of a positive for like hardcore competitive games sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about like the 12-second rule in like the NBA, where like if it's, or not 12-second, if it's like in the last minute and you take a timeout, you just immediately get the ball at half court. Which is just like, why is this there? It's because it's a competitive game.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see Nintendo and Blizzard releasing games that are both competitive and follow good game design patterns, because it expands them to a broader audience. It means I can play them without investing 40 hours a week in them. And I'm happy that both genres exist, but I think sometimes we focus too much on, oh, this is like uber competitive and it's great because it's super competitive. It's like, that's great, but also I just kind of want a game I can play sometimes.
Right, yeah, I just want to, do like have a game, not a job. Yeah. I actually just saw a great like Reddit post today where somebody was complaining about some game and not having like enough to do in it right now or things like that, and the first comment was just like, It's a game, not a job. Like, if you're tired of playing it, then move on and buy a new game. Like,
it's not like there aren't many of those getting released right now.
All right, well, other boring Switch stuff. The OS got updated today to 3.0.
Weirdly following a trend of Nintendo focusing on usability? Question mark?
Yeah. Like a good UI that's not just bubbles in arbitrary places. And it allegedly has better Wi-Fi stability and connectivity I'm excited about. The feature I'm really excited about is Find My Punchicon.
Yeah.
So
I'm stunned I haven't lost yet. It's like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I guess it's because I don't play any games with motion controls. So they're either the Punch-Cons are either strapped to the console or they're strapped to the little Punch-Con grip.
Right, yeah.
But now that I have the Pro controller that my babies can wander off with because they take everything now, it will be a nice feature. You can go into the controller setup section, hit search, choose the controller, and it will just make it start vibrating like crazy so you can locate it. So that's great for your missing Punch-Cons.
Just a weirdly nice feature for them to release.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is. It's just so like...
It's like, oh, that was nice.
It's a quality of life update from Nintendo. The people that are like, deal with this same port for 15 years. That's right, you need a TV that can still hook up to this GameCube because we are not updating.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah. You want to play our games in HD? Well, tough.
Yeah.
Now they're like, hey, we're going to make your Wi-Fi better. Oh,
that's good.
Oh.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Do you have to pay you $5? No, it's for free. Oh,
yeah.
This is strange.
I read something, too, that they tweaked sounds like they tweaked the sensitivity of the Punch-Con joysticks.
That's good.
In the store. And when you're navigating menus so that it doesn't feel like you're just like blazing through stuff.
I actually noticed that. Now that you say that, I'm like, oh, actually, that's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you try to jump down a game, like if you're looking in the eShop, and then it's like, did you want to go down 8 games? Like, no.
Because that's where we are.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can go all the way back up at the top, but...
Sounds like you wanted NBA Jam. Like, no,
I really don't. Man.
That game is awful. Anyway.
It is. NBA Playgrounds is awful. I wish I could get my money back for it. There is no point in playing that game. You are much better off getting on Craigslist, buying a Super Nintendo, eBaying a copy of NBA Jam, and playing that. That's what you should be doing with your life.
Which are probably easier to find than the Nintendo Entertainment System they released.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
At Christmas.
Exactly. Well, I don't know any other newsworthy stuff coming out of E3. This is kind of our news section now.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff, but I think those are the main things. I was honestly mostly excited about the Nintendo stuff. Everything else, there was a lot of cool things, but...
So, I will say that Microsoft, I think, wins the award for the worst named product since the Xbox One.
Sorry, you mean the Xbone?
Yeah, since the Xbox One had the worst product name maybe ever, they've decided to go ahead and just blow our socks off with the Xbox One X.
No, they could have kept Project Scorpio, and that would have been better.
Yeah, and I'm so confused now because there's the Xbox One S, as in Sierra, which I thought was Project Scorpio. It's not. I thought S Scorpio. No, that's just like a cheap Xbox. Now there's the Xbox One X,
and
as in xylophone.
If we follow the naming convention of Xbox One or Xbone, you have Xbox and Xbox.
Yeah, Xbones and Xbonix. I speak Xbonix. So the Xbox One X, I guess it's a super powerful Xbox, which is great if you really, really, really don't want to buy a computer to play games. This is great. It's $500.
Yeah, I don't get it. I do not get it.
Yeah. To play 5 games in 4K on your TV, if you have a 4K TV, and yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I was at a friend's house, his kids were playing Xbone, they were playing Madden, and I was admittedly just baffled at how terrible it looked. During gameplay it was fine, but then the little cutscenes were oh, he scored a touchdown, or here comes the ref. The thing would just grind down to 10 frames a second, and it just looked terrible. And I was like, this is current gen console shenanigans, so I get that they want to release a more powerful version of it, but I
don't get the $500 price tag. It's just, I think what's interesting is as we move forward with consoles, like what are the differentiators between like PlayStation and Xbox?
Yeah.
And if they're like, maybe Anthem will do it, but I think that's releasing for both PlayStation and Xbox. It's just like,
you're right.
What is the game that's going to be like Halo? And I don't mean Halo because Halo Infinite, whatever version of Halo we're on, it's just like, I'm done. Like, I get it.
It's Halo 1.
Yeah. Halo X.
Yeah,
Okay.
Halo 1X is coming out this fall. Oh.
It's just like, where's the differentiator? Where at least with the Switch, it's like, okay, there's games I can get that are significantly different from any game I could purchase anywhere else. Like, not just like the IP, like the actual game design. It's portable. Whereas like if you go over to PlayStation or Xbox, it's like, sure, I can flip a coin and purchase one of those, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know what would differentiate between one or the other. And if I had to choose, I'd be like, probably PlayStation because it's more powerful for half the price.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's crazy now. And even the PS4 Pro, which I thought was still just rumored. Apparently that also exists now, which just shows how out of touch I am with those things. But like that's even cheaper than what the Xbox is going to be.
Xbox.
So I admit I haven't been in the PC master race for very long. But like to me the whole point of the console was it's a trade-off. It costs a little less money for the hardware. It has a little bit more, TV integration. You're going to get your Netflix and stuff like that on your TV. Yeah. Nice controllers, things like that. The trade-off being it's not as powerful as gaming on the PC. And if you want the most powerful gaming, then you would just get a computer to do it. But the trade-off being, on the console, I just download the game or I just buy the disc. It's simple. Now when you're like, well, do you want the Xbox or the S or the really powerful Xbox? It's like, what are you talking about? That's not I don't buy a console to go, I've got to have the most cutting edge latest graphics. I buy it to play the games.
Well, and what's interesting is like, I actually heard this from both Xbox and PlayStation. They're like, well, I think, Apple has shown that people are really in the market for high-end equipment, right? Sure. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But if you look at Apple and Nintendo, it's because they've curated very specific lists of apps that you have to purchase on there, which you can argue positive or negative, whether those are good things.
Yeah.
But like that's where the value comes from. You can't play Breath of the Wild or any game like it on PlayStation or Xbox.
Right.
You can't buy a lot of things for Apple that you can buy elsewhere. Like an iPad is a very unique device in that way. Whereas if you compare like high-powered PlayStations or Xboxes, it's like, unless I'm just dying to play a very specific game, there's no like specific aesthetic or thing that draws me to that console. And that's what I just don't get. It's like, if I'm someone who's dropping $500, $600 to buy a console, I'm probably a power gamer, and then what am I getting from the payoff? I can probably just build my own PC. So I'm kind of curious to see how it does.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused.
So super powerful Xboxes and PlayStations.
Not my cup of tea, but
yeah,
I'm sure someone will buy it.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. All right. Well, the only other newsworthy thing that I could think of, and to try to maintain some connection to the non-digital world, you mentioned this week some changes to how Magic the Gathering structures their content, and I'm actually interested in that as a guy that's trying to get back into Magic.
Yeah, so it's 25 years of Magic now, which is insane. Like, I can't really emphasize enough just how insane that is. Most digital games don't last 5 years.
Right.
So for a board game in the digital era to last with a less than optimal digital client.
Right.
means that something has to be going very right. And one of the things they do is reevaluate basically the entire, like, system around the game. Like, the structure won't change, but how they make it will change pretty regularly every 5 years, I would say. And this time they kind of went with a big overhaul. So there was an announcement week for 25 years of Magic. One of the big things was they're going back to their original setting, Dominaria. So they have different planes they're set on. They're going back to Dominaria, where it all started. So that'll be kind of cool. That's like really exciting, actually. The set in the fall is going to be pirates versus dinosaurs. Apparently the dinosaurs will have feathers.
Okay.
So it just seems fun. But the big change was in how they released blocks. So originally, when the block structure was created, it was blocks were 3 sets, and it would be large set, small set, small set. And you would draft it in that order. So a draft is 3 packs that you'd open with a bunch of other people. And you would draft it large set, small set at the very end. Ultimately, they realized that was kind of boring. It didn't emphasize new content. So more recently, it moved to a 2 set per block structure, where there was 1 large set and 1 small set.
Yeah.
And the first structure would be large set, large set, large set. Once the small set was released, it'd be small set, large set. The problem is what they basically realized, and I think a little of this has to do with the success of Hearthstone, was that people just don't like drafting multiple sets. Like, the problem isn't actually the last set fatigue. It's actually just that once you start mixing sets with similar mechanics, it becomes really stale and it's hard to like find a good mix.
Yeah.
So what they're moving to now is, instead of 1 large set, 1 small set alternating with 4 sets released per year, they're going to release 3 large sets per year and move back to a core set, which is more aimed at introductory players.
Yeah.
Which is going to have a smaller footprint. I think it's probably going to be advertised less. It's going to be a little bit different than what they normally do. And so instead of drafting sets together, you will draft the large set by itself.
Got it.
And when the next set comes out, you will draft that set by itself. And in my opinion, there's 2 main forms of playing Magic. You have Constructed, which is pretty similar to Hearthstone. You combine the last few sets, throw them together. That's the card pool.
Yeah.
You build a deck, you play. In my opinion, where Magic really shines is Limited.
Right. And this is where I really enjoy. This is my favorite way to play Hearthstone, and this is definitely what I enjoy in Magic more.
And I think Limited Magic is even better than Hearthstone Arena. It is really fun being able to play with other people. It's like a very different experience than just drafting cards at random, because when you get screwed by other players, you feel like there was a reason for it, instead of like there was one time with Crip where I saw he got 3 cards that were can attack or block, and it was just like, this is awful.
Right.
Whereas like when it happens for you in Magic, it's like, oh, every other player picked the good card. Or when you get like, there's 3 cards remaining and you get a good card that you want, it just feels really awesome because you're like, oh, I read the table really well.
Right.
So instead of drafting large sets and small sets, it's just going to be 1 set. And I think that's a really good shift. It means things are going to be much more fresh, much more often, without much of an impact on sort of how the sets are designed. And secondly, it means that the story focus is going to feel a lot more natural.
Yeah.
So what they were doing was every block, so a large set, small set combination, would be basically a different world.
Yeah.
And I just got so tired of it, because it was like, oh, now we're bouncing over to this other world, and then the same thing would happen. It was like the Gatewatch, which is like the planeswalkers that they're trying to sort of advertise for, finds enemy, encounters trouble, Gatewatch wins. Literally every time, and it's like, this is really boring. So moving to a large set means they can stay on a world pretty much as long as they want.
Right.
Because it's just, okay, that's another large set, okay, that's another large set, and there'll be new mechanics, but it won't just be like, oh, we know what's happening in the next set.
I remember being overwhelmed even just a couple years ago, trying to get into Magic, and trying to get friends to get into Magic with me, and it was like, by the time I had gotten enough cards and enough friends that wanted to play, there was a new thing, and we were like, wait, I thought it was dragons. Like, I thought we were doing the dragons thing, and I was making cool dragons deck. It's like, no, it's not dragons anymore. It's this other thing now. I was like, but I just got my friends to buy a bunch of dragons, and they're like, well, tough. Now you need to learn whatever the thing after that was. And it was very, again, 25 years of a game is great for the game, but it makes it daunting for a new player to come in and be like, okay, do I have to go through a big book on like the last 25 years? Do I need 25 years worth of cards? Or like,
yeah, and that's why I always encourage people to play Limited and not Constructed. It's a little more complicated, but especially for gamers, you basically pay $15 and you get a good draft experience.
Yeah.
It's a little pricey, but it's significantly cheaper than like investing $500 in a standard competitive deck and trying to figure that out. And to be honest, I think what we've seen with both Magic and Hearthstone, Constructed environments get stale. It feels
really quickly, yeah.
If that's what you're into, I can understand why you're excited by it, because changing 2 or 3 cards feels really exciting. But I think for most casual players, it's kind of boring because you're not really experiencing a breadth of the set. You don't get to play with most of the cards because they're not relevant. It's just natural.
Yeah.
Playing in a limited environment is significantly more fun.
Yeah.
And I think having this is just it levels the playing field. It means that everyone is new more often when you play limited, instead of just being like, well, I've experienced this limited format for the past 6 months. Why don't you know what's going on?
And also, I like limited because it still lets you combine half the fun of a card game, which is opening packs and collecting cards, in a condensed set where you get to play with it, versus when it's constructed, it's like, well, I'm only trying to get these cards. I'm not even opening packs for like the fun of opening packs and seeing what's inside of them. I'm just trying to get the cards I need to build this deck to do this thing. And yeah, having that mixture, like we did it, you and I went to a release a couple of years ago, and that was super fun. So it's like I get to open the packs, see what I got, see what other people got, and then start building decks and playing with the cards. And it was like the perfect combo of everything that's great about it. So yeah, I would really like to get back into Magic. I have always just loved collectible card games. I played Star Wars CCG, the Star Trek CCG, the god-awful Lord of the Rings trading card game from the movies.
Oh, man.
I played Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I mean, I love opening packs. I love collecting cards. I love playing them. And I'd like to, now at this point in my life, I wouldn't mind getting back into that, so.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the future of Magic. I think it's nice to see a company that responds so well to their community.
Yeah. I just love the way you get to speak about this game. Like, I'm excited about the future of Magic. I can't wait to get back into Magic. The magical community welcomes you.
I'm getting back into Harry Potter, guys.
Exactly. I'm concerned about the future of Magic.
No, but I mean, like, I think what's so incredible is, like, you have the head designer who's been there for, like, 15 years or something insane now. He writes constantly. He, like, lets you know what's going on. And even as a game designer, I think I just feel such a debt to the amount of knowledge they've passed on about how they design that is just incredible. So I always follow them, even if I'm not necessarily playing the game constantly.
Yeah, that's rad. Well, it's about that time that we mosey on off into the sunset.
Yeah.
So, speaking of following, make sure you follow our show. Do you see that? That was a segue. It was
see what you did
so
there.
smooth. Most people won't even notice that I did that. So you can follow us at The Main Loop on Twitter. You can also email us your thoughts about Magic, or what excited you at E3, or what's coming up with the Switch.
Or why we're horribly, horribly wrong about Xbox One X.
The Xbonix is going to change gaming as we know it. The Xbonix secures the future of Magic for all generations. You can email us at mainloopshow@gmail.com. Not The Main Loop Show, and not at Main Loop Show. It'd be mainloopshow@gmail.com. And if you like the show, please leave us a review in the iTunes Store. It's great. It helps more people find it.
5 stars is the correct number.
5 stars is correct, actually. All the others are a fail. It's pass-fail. It's five or get out. Yeah, and we will be back in 2 weeks to talk about the present state of Magic.
And probably other games that don't involve Nintendo Switch.
Hopefully. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
See ya.